Hey, how you doing today, YouTube? So today I'm taking my act on the road. I'm actually stopping here at Urban Barber College, and I'm going to do a tutorial here along with my class today. Okay, so today I'm going to be performing a bald taper fade on this coarse mixed hair actually. So as you can see right now, I'm just going through and I'm doing my scalp analysis, my comb analysis. And right here, I'm explaining where I'm going to put my first guideline. My first guideline is going to be my bald line. Now that you know, those that know me and have watched my videos know that I like to make my bald line instead of using the 5-op. I like to use my liners. And as you can see, I like to flick out at the top just to create another gateway for me to take that line out easily. Now here on the side, I'm going to set my guideline right at the peak or the turn of his ear. So where his ear starts is where my first guideline is going to be. And I'm going to make sure that your guidelines are actually bald before you go on to the next step. And again, on the other side, I repeat the same process on that side as I did on the side before. That way my blends are even and it doesn't look mismatched when you look at one side to the next. Got to keep these haircuts and these lines consistent. So now that I have my first guidelines, I'm going to go back in now and I'm going to make my first fade line with my one ANDIS attachable, my metal guard. Like I said, this is the equivalent of a fast feed or a masters with the lever wide open. And I'm going to make this guideline equal to the same length as the ones on the side of his ear. So as I make my guideline with my one, notice that my objective here is to make sure that all the hair in this guideline is even. So if you have mismatched hair, that means your hair is not even. So go ahead and make sure that you cut it all down to one shade, one color. And here I'm going to go back in at this first guideline I created with my one, and I'm going to close my lever down to a 3-op. And I'm just going to flick out at that line until it lightens up. And go to both sides from one ear to the next. You see I screwed the lever up halfway, just to make sure the transition is consistent. And now here I am on the side with my metal one again, and I'm creating that same guideline with the same width of the teeth of the comb. And then at the bottom I repeat my process, same as in the back. I go in with my 3-op, my lever all the way closed, and I flick out. And just like the other side and just like the back, the process stays the same. The only difference is these guidelines is they move. That's the only difference. And I go in and I flick out at the bottom. Now my symmetry does not change, my method does not change, whether it's a fade or whether it's a burst fade or a mohawk. I'm always going to keep the same guidelines. Now here I come back with my 1.5 metal ANDIS. And I'm still making the same width, same length on the cut. I have to make sure that all my hair is even. All the colors are consistent. Brush the hair down just to make sure that everything you cut is actually coming off. Now I go to the back. These guidelines and this haircut is very, very simple. As you keep following my videos, you'll probably be able to call out these steps before I even get to them. But the best part about it is once you figure out these steps, you can put your own signature, your own finesse on this to put it and make it your own style. I'm just showing you the fundamentals of cutting. Notice how my offhand utensil has changed from a brush to a comb. And the reason why it changed is because now the hair is starting to get longer, and the brush wouldn't do anything for me if I wanted to see the pattern of the cut of what I just did. I would definitely have to comb that down once I get into the longer hair. So once I get to like a 1.5, maybe 2, that's when you'll see me break out my comb. I said, my main objective and one thing that I focus on is making my clear transition lines. You cannot have a clear fade unless you have clear predominant transition lines. And with this process, don't lose focus or get too caught up doing one thing on one side of the head. The objective is to move around the head with equal care so that your blend will come out equally. You know what? I never tell someone to just fade one side of the head and then turn around and fade the other side. No. I recommend that you fade all at one time. Barbers don't cut hair up and down. We cut hair the long way. So as I come back with my 0 purple guard, I put it on top of my fast feeds and I close the lever. And I just flick out at this 1.5 line. This line that I created with my 1.5 metal guard, I flick out with my 0 all the way closed. And I gradually open it. Now, as the haircut comes back to the skin, I want to make sure that everything that I did up until this point is clearly indicated. I don't want to finish the haircut and see a bunch of knickknacks. So I'm going to make sure that all my guidelines with my touch-up is perfect. So that's what you see me doing here. I'm just doing a quick little touch-up of everything that I did before I decide to move on into the longer hair. So I go, now I'm in the back, and this is the same 1.5 guideline that I made with my metal ANDIS. And I'm just flicking out. This is a great view, if you can see, of exactly what my objective is. I'm trying to clear and lighten up that bottom line. Now I come back, I hit my cleanup with my lever open. So now you see me put my 2 guard on there, and it's a little bit longer, but what I want to do is I want to feather the hair out. And when I feather it out now, I lighten it up. Now I'm going to go back with my 1, and I'm going to teeter at that line. I'm going to nitpick at it because I don't want to wipe it all the way out. I want to leave definition there for my taper because I don't want my taper to turn into a high fade. So by me putting that longer 2 on there, it gave me room. It thinned out all of the bulk that I needed to thin out. And then at the bottom, I just went in with my 1 open and I just touched it up. So I'm using the corner of my blade, probably maybe 3 or 4 teeth at this time. And with my fast feeds, I like it because I can apply more of my blade to the blend when I'm taking out guidelines, as opposed to when I use my masters. My masters, I have to make sure that I only use the corner of the blade because they cut so fast. So my personal preference, I love to use the fast feeds for my transition lines. I like to set my guidelines with the ANDIS Super ZRs, and I like to take the guidelines out with my fast feeds. Just a quick little reminder about these guidelines. Guidelines are set with a numerical number that is equal to what you made your guideline with. So if that's too hard for you to understand, basically every guard has an opposition guard that can be blended out by it. It is up to us to figure those guards out. And with these guidelines, I'm giving you a better indication of what these guards and what these lengths are. People always want to ask me, how can they cut faster? I have one statement of advice for you. When you understand all of your tools and exactly how they work, your cuts will become that much more faster. Now, as you can see, we executed this hairline up with what I like to call spritz or hairspray. And I like to spray this on coarse hairlines because it holds the hair in place. And I'm able to cut directly. As you can see, my cutting angle is straight on. I don't rub up the forehead. Not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but my cutting angle is straight on. And holding spray is the best way to get this cut. And when you're dealing with hairlines and you're dealing with symmetry, make sure that you are looking at the head straight on, meaning that the client is sitting in an upright position, their posture is right. Yes, it is on you as the barber to check your client's posture. Because if he's sitting crooked, your hairline's going to be crooked. And remember, you own your station. You are the alpha male of your station. So make sure that you have a good vantage point of whatever you're cutting. Never compromise your view. Never compromise what you can see and what you can't see. If you cannot see, stop the cut and reposition yourself to where you can see exactly what you're cutting. And you should never be cutting into a blind view. And what I mean by blind view is your clippers shouldn't be running away from you. Your clippers should be at all times cutting towards your eyes. That way you can see where your clippers are running over and what it's about to cut. Never push the clipper away from you. Now here, as you see me executing these arches, I'm using the corner of my blade for the arches. And that's very important, to be able to finesse the corner of the blades when you're lining. It makes the line all that much more potent. You can actually control the clipper and you control how you want it to come out. And as you see, I'm just going back over, I'm fine-tuning my taper. And this afro taper didn't go any higher than a 2 purple guard. And you see me going back in and I'm just lightening that area up, just lightening it up. There's nothing happening here that you didn't hear or I didn't go over. I'm just going back in after I took that bulk out, and I am knocking down the shadow with my 1 open. Now I'll put my 2 plastic guard back on there, and I just kind of like knock out that bulk line. Now as we get to the ending stage of this video and I'm just going over the fine tune, I just want to reach out to you guys and let you guys know if you guys have any questions, if you have any recommendations, if you guys have any haircuts that you'd like to see me perform next, any specifics about the tools that I use, feel free to type in the comments. You can go follow me on Instagram, Aaron Flowers Grooming. You can inbox me anytime. If you would like me to schedule a tutorial at your school, again, you can email me, inbox me, have your school contact me. I would love to come do this more often. So now we spray the product in. Can't leave them dry. We gotta get those waves jumping. Gotta get them curls in there.